Honorable Millie, that was made clear in the Speaker's communication. It actually does not have that threshold. This one does not have that threshold. Honorable NDINDI.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And I want to thank the Honorable Naomi Wako for moving that amendment. Honorable Chair, this amendment is only seeking to do this, that the initial amount that we wanted to allocate to the counties as shareable revenue or allocation was 400.1 billion. We amended that to 380 billion in this House. We took it to the Senate, and the Senate proposed again almost the initial figure of 400.1 billion. We mediated, and we came up with a figure of 387 billion. Honorable Chair, what that means is that the current division of revenue has a figure of 387. It was actually signed by the President yesterday. And this figure must align with the CARA that is before us today. And therefore, we are just trying to align that figure. But generally, as I finish, I want to thank all the members who've been with, especially in the earlier process of mediation, and say it very loudly that this House supports devolution in entirety. The issue before us was just about allocation of resources, which are scarce, and we'll be allocating actually more resources to our counties in the county government's additional allocation, which we are now considering in the mediation. And therefore, we are moving forward in terms of support for devolution. The monies of 387, Honorable Chair, is actually 24.4% of the threshold that we should maintain of 15. And therefore, we are 9 points ahead of what is constitutional or the constitutional threshold. I support that amendment, and I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Very well put. Honorable KAWANJIKU, your chair has spoken for you.
No. Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to raise and support whatever the Leader of Majority has moved. That to some extent we need to agree that we need to move on as a country. And because the money that we are supposed to correct and the amount of money that we have corrected from, that we were supposed to have corrected from the finance bill, it is actually a shortfall. And since there is an increment of about 387 billion, comparing to what they had received even last year, I think it is high time that we support that amendment, and also call upon our governors, as they are saying, that as far as we want to support devolution, and the majority of the speakers who have spoken before me, they have said, we also need to see the value for money of this amount of money that we are sending to their counties. Issues to do with the roads, issues to do with health, issues to do with the drugs in our public hospitals, that they need to rise to occasion. So that at least, even if we are going to continue allocating more funds, we can be able to see the value for money as far as the devolution is concerned. But as it is, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, there is no difference. The only difference that you can see, even in terms of the law that we are making in the constituency, is what Kera, Kura, and Kenha are doing. But where this money is going, it's something, Madam Speaker, that desired to be seen. Actually, what actually the devolution was supposed to have achieved. And therefore, I support the motion. Let us give them 387 billion. In case there is an increment of the new finance bill next year, we'll be able to review and move forward. I support, Madam Speaker.
I therefore put the question that the President's reservations to the first schedule be amended as proposed by the majority leader. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that the President's reservation to the first schedule as amended be now approved. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House's consideration of the President's reservations to the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, that is Senate Bill number 25 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, I will put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the President's reservations to the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 25 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the President's reservations to the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 25 of 2024, and approved the same with amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee of the said, let me repeat, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank all the members who have participated in this process and the associated processes, because when you are processing the monies that we send to our counties, we consider several instruments. I want to thank all the members who have been involved from the budget-making process in terms of appropriation, coming to division of revenue, and also the current SIGA that is now on mediation between ourselves and the Senate, and also in this process that we are having today. And I also want to reiterate again, as I said before, that this House fully supports devolution. We support our governors for the good work they are doing, even with the limitation of resources, because we are all leaders. Being leaders, we are playing in the same team. We are playing in the same direction. And Honorable Speaker, we are pulling in the same direction again. And every effort we put in making sure that Kenya is moving forward should be congratulated. And therefore, whatever we do here as MPs, whatever our governors are doing, whatever every other leader is doing, we are doing it for the betterment of our country, and that is why we always allocate resources to our counties and do justice in terms of provisioning enough resources to our counties for them to be able to give proper service to the Kenyan people. And Honorable Speaker, I now beg to request my brother, the Honorable Makali Mulu, PhD of Economics, to second this motion for the agreement with the report of the Committee of the whole House.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me join my chairman in appreciating those who have been involved in this process. Honorable Speaker, it has not been easy to get where we are today. The Senate, the National Assembly, the Mediation Committee, and the members of this House for ensuring that we have these resources for the counties. So even as I second Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we need to note as Kenyans that all these resources we are allocating or appropriating, either at the national level or at the county level, are being used to make lives better for the Kenyans. We are all serving the same Kenyan, and what I will be requesting is we need to ensure those who are accounting, the accounting officers at all different levels, they need to make sure that we realize prudent management of these public resources. That will make this economy grow and life will be better for all of us. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second. Thank you.
Honorable members, order, Honorable Tandaza. I propose the question, which is that this House do agree with the committee in the said report. Honorable members, I put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 13. Motion. Consideration of mediated version of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023.
The chairperson for the mediation committee, Honorable Murugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to move that pursuant to the provisions of Article 1132 of the Constitution and Standing Order number 153, this House adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, laid on the table of the House yesterday, Wednesday, 4th December 2024, and approves the mediated version of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023. Madam Speaker, allow me to urge the members present, and possibly they do have the report of the Mediation Committee, which sat over a period of 2 weeks to mediate over the bill. The House will recall that this House passed the Conflict of Interest Bill number 12 of 2023, and after that, the bill was taken to the Senate, where it was returned to this House with amendments. The honorable speakers of the two houses then formed a mediation committee comprising of 9 members from the National Assembly and 9 members from the Senate. And when the Senate convened, I was, as the chairperson of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, selected as the chairperson of the Mediation Committee, while the chairperson of the equivalent of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee in the Senate was the vice chairperson. The selection was based on the fact that this is a National Assembly bill, and it is because of that the Constitution was made. Kindly, honorable members, read the report. It is detailed, elaborate, and it has actually solved most of the concerns which this House had. I confirm to the House that this mediated version is actually in compliance with the requirements which this House put across, and especially in disagreeing with the Senate proposed amendments. What the Senate proposed was basically, to a greater extent, put aside, and the version of the National Assembly was re-adopted, and this is what we are moving this morning. I wish to point out to a few salient provisions which are of importance to the House. The first one being clause number 5, which would be section 5 of the Act, where the administration of the Act was put in 2 authorities. The reporting authority being the authority in charge of you as a public officer, and the corruption, the ethics and anti-corruption. The 2 will actually enforce this, the basis being we would not have done away with the Anti-Corruption Commission because of Article 75 of the Constitution. I also wish to confirm that most of the provisions we have here were actually in the Leadership and the Integrity Act, Chapter 185C of the laws of Kenya. So we try to harmonize to ensure that what is in the Leadership and Integrity Act is what we introduce here and not anything extraneous as the original bill had tried to do and possibly as the senators had also contemplated. I draw your attention to to clause number 19, which is very important in that a public officer shall not be party to or any beneficiary of a contract for the supply of goods, works, or services with is or a reporting entity. Honorable members, the proposal was that actually all public servants should never have anything to do with the rest of the government. We actually went back to say, you will now be stopped from acting with your reporting entity. That is, if you are under Parliamentary Service Commission, then you cannot do any business whatsoever with the Parliamentary Service Commission. That does not stop you from doing with the Public Service Commission or any other entities to which you do not report. So we try to cure that by making that provision so that nobody says this is over-curtailing when it comes to engaging with the rest of the government. I draw your attention to clause 32 of clause 32, which is going to be section 32, that this section determines what body is a responsible commission for a public officer for the purposes of the Act, and we have set out the commissions. Then I take you to clause 41, which is also very important. Clause 41 on complaints and the conduct of investigations, where we have provided in subclause 3 that a reporting authority and the commission shall not conduct concurrent investigations over the same complaint. This means that you have your reporting agency or your reporting authority to do investigations for you. For the commission to come in, there must be a complaint to the commission, and the commission will establish that the reporting entity is not investigating the matter. Once this is established, the commission may come in. But for all intents and purposes, the investigations will be with your reporting authority. And for your case here, it is the Parliamentary Service Commission, and for the rest of the executive, it is the Public Service Commission, while the judiciary as the Judicial Service Commission and others. Then quickly, I take you to the provisions of clause 45, where you got a penalty. It's good to note what the penalty is if you breach this act. This is no different from what we have under Leadership and Integrity Act. Therefore, if you offend this law, you are actually, and you are convicted, you are liable to a fine or a default prison term. And regulations will be made